Welcome to Sensible Secondhand Classics, the show where we put a car that's over 15 years old that you can buy for a budget between £1,000 and £5,000 through its paces. This is a 1997 Jeep Cherokee XG 4 litre Limited, and I feel like I'm Jesse Birdsall from Bugs. So the XJ Cherokee was actually launched in America in 1983 for the 84 model year, and it continued until 2001. In this country, the car was actually marketed from 1992. Those cars, I think, were sort of demonstrators and press cars only, right away through to 2001, when it was replaced by the KJ Cherokee, or Liberty, as the Americans got it. And it's a car that I've had on no budget reviews before. The engines available in our market were a 2.5 litre 4-cylinder with about 120 horsepower. It kind of varied exactly on sort of what year as to what you got. And this 4 litre straight 6 with between 177 and 181 horsepower. There are also some diesels available, but as usual, due to controversial government legislation and many other reasons, we don't talk about diesels on this channel. What we do talk about is the fact that this is owned by James Coleman, a rubbish mechanic, and Mr. Coleman has been after one of these for a long time. He's actually got a family in America, and they own a lot of these. I think they actually own a sort of special company that you can get bits from and things like that. It's extraordinary. And this is in really nice. It's done 170,000 miles, but it doesn't really feel too bad. But the wheel is a little bit weird in that we are kind of wandering all over the road a little bit, and it doesn't feel anything like it's sort of modern car that I often drive, but I'm finding it quite charming. The brakes are no way as bad as I expected. I was told they were like Capri 2.8 brakes, but they don't seem to be. They seem to be okay to me, probably because I haven't really been up to any great speed in this, and I don't really tend to do that. It's not really a performance machine, but it is really enjoyable. I love this commanding driving position. The seat is really comfortable. It's a little bit upright. It's not the most natural position that I've ever sort of had in my life, but it's pretty good. I am very, very much enjoying just feeling like I am in an episode of Bugs. And of course, the XJ Cherokee was one of the main cars used in the first 3 series of Bugs, driven by Jesse Birdsall as Beckett, based in loads and loads of chases. You can always hear this straight 6 AMC engine that dates back to the mid-60s, sort of howling away. He used 3 different cars. I think the first one was a 94. The other ones we don't know exactly because they used a sort of personal plate on a 17 LPJ, so we don't know exactly, but we think they were probably a 95 and 96. Just going around this corner, the steering is extremely light. It's far lighter than in even most modern electrically assisted setups, but that's okay because this is an XJ Cherokee and I am a very, very, very happy man. Here's some information from a gentleman called Chris, who's a long-time XJ Cherokee specialist. Check the oil and water. Water should be a nice orange or green colour. Look under the oil filler cap for mayonnaise. On a 4 litres like this, check the transmission fluid. It should be a cherry red colour. It shouldn't be burnt. Look for fluid leaks anywhere on the engine, particularly at the bottom of the bell housing where it bolts to the gearbox. The rear main seal is a relatively simple job, but you have to take the gearbox off. While you're underneath, look for leaks on the diff pinions and have a good look around at the rear of the seals for rust. Check that the rear springs aren't flat. or worse, curved. Start the engine, make sure the starter engages smoothly and isn't noisy. Check for white exhaust smoke on startup. But listen to it tick over for a while whilst you're doing some more checks. Listen for clangs and bangs. This doesn't have any, of course. Check everything works. Seats, windows, the lot. Lift the rear seat base. Pull up the carpet up and check for rust near the seatbelt anchors in the corners. Poke the floor in the boot. Make sure the tailgate stays up and doesn't fall on your head. This one's fine. Make sure that the front doors don't drop as you open them. This one's fine. Check the sides of the roof for rust and also above the windscreen. Condensation builds up if you don't use the air conditioning and it rusts them inside. While on the subject of air conditioning, that probably won't work. The seller will say if it needs a regas, it probably wants more. Electric air won't work, as we've discussed. Check the passenger footwell carpet for damp. If it's damp, it could be a leaking heater matrix or failed windscreen seal. If you're happy for the engine sounds good, turn it off and see if it'll run the self-diagnostic code, which is what this one does. If it's one of the ones that will run self-diagnosis, look at the cut 5.5, it means no faults, although you often get 12 as the batteries go flat and they aren't in regular use. Yes, early phase 2, this is one of these. Make sure you have the key, and 2 remotes is ideal really for this kind of thing. Check the interior lights come on when the door is open. They do. If they don't, chances are someone turn on your override headlight switch. Could work out why other bulbs wouldn't go out, so remove the bulbs. Check hasn't been left in 4-wheel drive. This one hasn't. It's fine. Any weird noises? No weird noises underneath here. Try the brakes. It should brake straight and true, which it does. Put the gearbox in park and make sure the transfer case engages easily in each position. You shouldn't have to force it. Make sure the part time high and low ranges work as they should. So there we go. There's some useful tips on looking at a car from Chris, who's got 20 years of experience of running and fixing these cars. Sadly, viewers, it is a little bit windy out here in the countryside. Just pulled up onto a little verge here. This is where Mr. Coleman does actually a lot of his sort of photography and things like that, just on this area here, and it looks pretty good. The picture of my Rover 45 that's actually on the channel banner was done right here. So this is a facelifted Cherokee. It's a 97, and this is one of the first of the facelifted cars. We can tell that because of this remote key fob here, which I've been told I must not lose it, because otherwise there will be problems. I absolutely love this dark green colour. It is a very similar colour, I don't know if it's identical, to the cars used by Jesse Birdsall as Beckett in the old Bugs TV series, although he never drove a facelifted Cherokee. For the 4th series that began filming, I think, in 1997, they decided not to give him a facelifted one of these, but to give him a Grand Cherokee instead. But the first 3 series he drove pre-facelift Cherokees, limited ones like this one, but the pre-facelift model. The boot is rather conventional actually. I was expecting it to perhaps sort of open in a different way, but it doesn't. These are things on here for a cycle rack, which isn't on the car anymore. Got all kinds of things you could fit in here. The spare lid's just there, so no scrabbling around on the floor trying to get that out. Mr. Coleman's detailing kit and his camping chair, and some Granada suspension components that he's recently purchased. So nice big practical square shape to put all your bits in for whatever it is that you need. It must be, I don't know, 500-600 litres at least, this. So plenty of room to fit everything you need to in, and they've very kindly given you a little handle to close that. Very, very light tailgate, really, really light. It's not a perfect car by any means. It has done 170,000 miles, but it's got a beautiful rip-speed exhaust on it, and it looks good. These are the original alloy wheels for the car, with all-terrain BF Goodrich tyres. Let's get in the back. It's really lovely old door handles. It's not quite a beige leather interior views, but it is a sort of a grey one. No sort of wood or anything apart from just here, the very tiny amounts of it. Very light doors for some reason. It's not the easiest thing I've ever clambered into, but it's okay. It's not the most amount of room in here, but of course you could just buy a Grand Cherokee at this time if you needed a bit more room. But for a car that, I think the first one of these came out in 1983 in America, so you know, it's not actually that bad for something of this era. Little ashtray here, of course, being from a car designed in the 80s. Nothing on the door cards. The door cards do look very sort of 1990s Chrysler. I mean, that's what I'll say about them, but that's okay. No centre armrest, that's a bit of a surprise. Just a lap belt in here. Got this really weird sort of speaker bar just there, with the sort of overhead bit there. Now, I'm told that these console bits, there's 3 of them, that they are broken and I should not touch them. So I shall not touch them. Also, Mr. Common said don't turn on and off the front map lights because they're also broken. But you can do these if you want. You can touch those. So yeah, just it's very, very, very much sort of combination of the sort of older American Motors type stuff, because until 1988 Jeep was part of American Motors until the Chrysler takeover, and then just some other bits that look more modern, but not necessarily the sort of the highest quality. I know a lot of people prefer the sort of earlier cars for that reason, but I prefer the look of this facelifted one personally. Got door locks there, window locks. I think all UK Cherokees did come with 4 electric windows from these sort of cars that were first imported in 92. I think they went on sale in 93, but press cars and things did come over in 1992. Right, let's have a look at the front. So, different from the earliest ones we got in this country, different dash and also a different steering wheel. The earliest ones, and like one in the first series of Bucks, they don't actually have airbags in them at all. This has twin airbags, being a facelifted car, although I think from about 95 they did start to receive driver's airbags. Again, I think these stalks are different as well from the earlier ones. Cruise control. And there's one thing that's worth saying about the earlier limited ones. There was a limited leather and then a limited SE. By the time of the facelift, it was just a limited. I think the SE had been discontinued. We've got various readouts here for the battery voltage, fuel level, which we'll see the average miles per gallon in a bit, viewers, oil pressure, and then the engine temperature. The speedo is quite small actually comparatively, and we've got a very interesting hazard light switch. There we go. Very easy to operate the climate controls here. There is air conditioning, of course, because this is a limited. Just idiot proof really. There's not even an aircon button. There's air conditioning settings and non-air conditioning settings in here, which is interesting. 12-volt socket, rear heated window. That must be the rear wiper. That's a strange place for it. Fog lights, of course, and headlight leveling. So we also have, this is with a 4-wheel drive system, 2-wheel drive, part-time 4-wheel drive, full-time 4-wheel drive. So that would be the high ratio, neutral, and then there's the 4 low just there. Haven't got time to do any off-roading, I'm afraid, today, viewers, so we shall not. Sort of T-bar automatic transmission lever, 4-speed auto. There was a manual available as well in this country for certain models, but I think the 4-litre was most common with an automatic gearbox. you better get my bag out. We try to see if the secret mission document's going there. First of all, note the Chrysler Pentastar on this non-standard size radio, and good old tape player with auto head cleaning. Right, viewers, let's give this a go. Oh. No. I'm also obliged to point out to you that you're not seeing things. This car does not have a rear view mirror because they apparently always fall off, and you don't need one for an MOT. You need a mirror on this side, but not one here and not one there. And objects in the mirror are closer than they appear. There is a center console here for tapes, little grooves for the tapes, excellent. Cup holders, because it's an American car, of course. Little ashtray, normal handbrake. Mr. Colburn, I don't tend to put handbrakes on an automatic car. I do sometimes if it's on a hill, but you don't need to if it's in park, do you really? Headlight switch is just there, which is interesting. And yes, an American style ignition switch. We'll have to use that in a second because I want to see what miles per gallon that average this car is doing. Right, viewers, we are on. That's what the key looks like in the barrel. 17.5 miles per gallon. Not the best, viewers, I must admit, but you don't buy an XJ Cherokee with a 4-litre engine for the best fuel economy. Let's now have a look under the bonnet, although we can actually look here. We've got tiny little lights in the window switches and an automatic driver's door mirror, which is nice. Right, let's take a look at the 4-litre AMC engine. So here it is, the legendary 4-litre straight-six engine. Variants of this actually date back to 1964, not in this capacity, but I think it was originally something like a 3.8 litre, but there are loads of other capacities for this. Overhead valve, you can actually see the breather system on here from the airbox. They're very, very reliable engines actually if you look after them. Yes, so no overhead cam stuff going on here, no plastic engine covers, but not a cross-flow engine either. So we've got things like the charcoal system here for making the fuel smell different. Receiver drive for the air conditioning, ABS pump, washer fluid, power steering fluid goes in there. Radiator just here, expansion tank, I think need a new cap or something, brake fluid, and a surprisingly small battery actually for such a big engine. I do prefer this facelifted front end to the original one, because I don't know why. Many of you will disagree with me, you might will prefer the earlier car, but I like the look of this, and the pinstripe looks very nice. Right, I think it's time to go for another drive. As you saw from the MPG readout, you don't buy one of these for its fuel economy, although I think you can actually run these on E10 without really too many problems. A lot of these were gas converted as well, it's just something to sort of watch out for. And also, these are very popular with the off-roading fraternity, and they're, you know, for good reason. They make really, really good off-roaders. So when you are going to buy one of these, you need to make sure you check the chassis and check for rust and all kinds of things like that. We've covered the fact that the overhead console and the lights in it don't necessarily work very well. The electric aerials tend to break. This one doesn't work. That's something that is really rare to see working, an electric aerial on an XJ Cherokee. But the fundamental mechanicals of these cars are actually really, really strong, particularly this 4-litre straight-six engine. You do obviously service it like you need to service anything, but they will do very, very high mileages and be tremendous fun doing them. I've certainly really appreciated my time with this. It's actually really easy to drive, particularly with this automatic gearbox, it's just no bother. You can see everywhere you're going. Reversing's not a problem. It's just really pleasant, and you know, you just got to be aware that if you drive one of these, your round town miles per gallon might be in the region of under 15, which in these days of high fuel prices isn't particularly for everyone. Let's now look, viewers, at some more XJ Jeep Cherokee facts. The trim levels were the limited leather, limited SE, the special edition stealth, which was based on the limited SE but was all black. That's quite desirable these days. Obviously the Sport and the Sport LE. The Sport LE was only available in 1994 and had no overhead console. There was the Orvis that was the kind of top of the range special edition for the faceted ones. I think that came out about 97, and then the 60th anniversary, but was right towards the end in 2001. The car was sold under various names around the world. The Jeep Wagoneer Limited, that was in the United States of America. I think that had sort of fake wood on the side of it and things. That was before 1990, I think. The Renault Jeep Cherokee. I don't think the Renault badge ever came on the car, but it was sold at Renault dealerships in various parts of the world, I think including France. And then elsewhere, the Jeep 2500, 2700, the Beijing BJ 2021, and the BJ 2750. The BAW Kishi, and the Shuangwan SHZJ213. Snappy name. It was actually sold in China, and various companies did make it until 2014. So a very long-lived design indeed. Obviously in America, where this one was made, Venezuela, Argentina, Egypt, and then Indonesia. So yes, it's quite a popular design, and should you these days buy one of these cars for your hard-earned budget of between £1,000 and £5,000, well, you kind of do need someone to look after it who knows what they're doing. There's various things like this sort of security system, which is a bit idiosyncratic, just on these models actually, from the 97 model year of the facelift. But there's other things you need to just be aware of. They don't drive like, you know, a modern car does, but then you don't buy an XJ Cherokee because it drives like a modern car. You buy it because of the sort of status that you have when driving it, and the sort of old-fashioned feel of everything, the reliability of the engine, and the off-road capability. That really goes without saying. This car is, I think, on standard tyres, and it looks like it's going to cross the Serengeti. But I've really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed actually finally driving one of these after many, many, many years of wanting to try one. So thank you once again to Mr. Golden Roach Mechanic for his kindness in lending me this car. Thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and leave a comment below. And we'll see you again for more nostalgic but relatively affordable motoring.
Dance for joy or lust or anger, and every time you haven't got it right.